Good morning and welcome to the corner. It is Wednesday morning, hump day as they call it. I hope that you are having a fantabulous day. It's almost Friday, so guess what? You have almost made it, right? Almost, not quite, almost. So, as promised, this week we are continuing and welcome to the corner. Let me fix my college. I hope that you are having a fantabulous day. It's almost Friday, so guess what? You have almost made it, right? Almost, not quite, almost. So, as promised, this week we are continuing and into. Okay, I think I may have fixed the problem. Uh, as I was saying, as promised, we are going to focus on codependency. We started talking about, we went through a series of questions on Monday, and some of those questions were related to codependency. I also want to say that I noticed that there are some gentlemen watching, joining us in the corner, and that is absolutely wonderful. And I say that with absolutely no sarcasm. I am very glad to have you here um, because just like I am talking about the fact that everybody needs to have a healthy relationship. Everybody does need to have a healthy relationship, and that's men and women included. Okay. So even though I may talk a lot from a woman's point of view, because I recognize that I do have some gentlemen out there who are listening, I will try to make a point to include things from that point of view as well. But when we are talking about issues like codependency, for example, this is an issue that goes both ways. Um, and I've seen it in my practice affect relationships both ways. Codependency tends to make relationships extremely heavy and extremely difficult. Okay, originally, um, codependency was a concept that referred to individuals who dealt with people who had problems with addiction, and they were considered to be enablers. Okay, and enablers were people who didn't hold other people accountable. They promoted poor mental health, and that's on purpose. They didn't do it on purpose, but promoted poor mental health, immaturity, irresponsibility, underachievement in the loved ones who were dealing with an addiction. Okay, when you take that definition and you put it in the context of codependent behavior in relationships, it's kind of the same thing where you find yourself in a relationship, but you don't do a very good job in using your voice. You don't do a good job in being assertive. You don't do a good job in um, being able to tell people no. You don't do a good job in taking care of yourself. And as you know, men and women alike, I want to encourage you to take the very best care of yourself. You only have one life. And as great as Walmart and Target are, as wonderful as they are, and other stores as they are, guess what they don't have? There is not an aisle in those stores for another stomach, another liver, another pancreas, another heart. It's not a store in there. It's not a lane in there for you to go just pick up another one. What does that mean? What am I saying? I'm saying that it is very important that you pay attention to how you are treating yourself. And your emotions have an impact on your body. Research has proven that your emotions have an impact on your body. I think I may have said this before, but emotional pain and physical pain shows up the same way in your brain. Your brain does not know whether you got stabbed with a knife in the arm or whether you have a broken heart. The same places in your brain light up. Okay. So your body is very sensitive to emotional distress, which is why you really, really should be taking care of it. Codependency is an issue that I have seen from the very beginning. I have been in therapy. I have been a therapist for, I don't know, 20 years, maybe 20 plus years. I know I look 16, but I'm not 16. But I've been doing therapy for a long time. And codependency, this issue where people get intertangled, they get intermingled, and it becomes very difficult to separate yourself from other people because you start in a sense living through other people. So like I said the other day, it's like if the other person is okay, if the other people in my life are okay, then I'm okay. But ladies and gentlemen, let me help you. That is not a way to live, because what's happening to your life while you're trying to take care of everybody else's life? What's happening to it? Let me tell you what's happening to it. It is fading and drifting in the wind. That is what's happening to it. Nobody's taking care of your life while you're so busy trying to take care of other people's lives and be sure that everybody else is okay. First of all, I hate to break this news to you, but that is not your job. It is not your job to take care of other people's feelings. Everybody's grown here. Everybody's grown. That means that, guess what? Everybody's responsible for taking care of their own feelings. I tell my clients, you know what you have to learn how to do? You have to learn to give people their feelings back. You have to learn to give people their feelings back. That is what you have to do. You have to learn to give people their feelings back. Now, that might sound a little harsh. That might sound a little harsh, but let me help you understand what I mean. When someone comes to you and they are talking to you about their feelings, it's okay for you to listen. It's okay for you to listen. It's okay for you to be supportive. Be a friend. You can do that. In a relationship, you can be supportive. You can listen. You can do all that. But let me tell you where the problem comes in. When you leave a discussion, whether this is your friend, whether this is your partner, whether this is your spouse, whether you are male or female, when you leave a discussion and you feel heavier than the person that you was just having that discussion with, that's a flag. Or if you leave a discussion and somehow you feel like you have been left with the responsibility of figuring out the problem and answer, fixing it. Ooh, I got to go fix it. Ooh, I got to go help them feel better. Ooh, I got to be sure that they're not hurting like that. Wow, that looks awful. I have to do something. That is a flag. You know what one of the best statements you can do in that situation? You can say, hey, Sally, Bob, Ray, look here. It seems like you are extremely anxious right now. You attempt to identify the feeling that you are seeing, whatever that might be. You know, man, you look really disappointed. This could be man to man, girlfriend to girlfriend, spouse, girlfriend, spouse, male and female relationships, however. Hey, man, hey girl, you look like you've been down a little bit for the last week or so. or you look really anxious right now, or I'm really concerned because your temper tends to flip really fast, and it would be awful if it flipped and something bad happened. Have you ever thought about doing something about that? Now, did you see how I just gave that back to them? Okay. So I acknowledged what I saw. I expressed some concern, and then gave it back. If you want to sit and attempt to try to problem solve with them, you could sit with them in the moment. Hey man, what you think you want to do about that? And you can sit and brainstorm with them in the moment. You can do that. You might even leave and say, hey, well, I'm gonna go check this out, but you go do A, B, C, D. The point is, you can't leave with the total responsibility and weight of an issue on you, not your job. That is not your job. The other thing that it does is it teaches people not to take care of themselves. You don't want to do that. You don't want to teach people to not take care of themselves. And you don't want to teach people that in order to take care of themselves, guess what they got to do? They got to come find you, and they got to come dump the problem on you. And then they got to let you figure out how to fix their life. No, sir. No, ma'am. That is not how you treat yourself. Remember, those are my three tenets: God, you, and other people. But that is not fair to you. Today, I am going to go through a few questions. This is a very long assessment. And I promised you guys on Monday that I was going to take some time and go through some questions from an assessment that I use in therapy. Now, this assessment has like 60 questions. We're not getting through 60 questions in 15 minutes, 10 minutes. We're not doing that. Um, I do want to encourage you. I am able to see this morning my comment box. So if you want to send me a question in that box, feel free to do so. I also want to say before I move on that you guys have also been sending me additional questions. I appreciate that. Continue to do that. It's just that this week I did promise that we were going to stick to the issue of codependency. I will have a webinar, and I will also have support groups for this issue. Okay. So this is something that I want you to think about. But those questions that you send me, I am keeping them. I will respond to them. But we have to get to, I really wanted to get to this issue today because I see this a lot, and it's really hurting a lot of relationships, and it really hurts you. Again, makes the relationship feel very heavy. Codependency says, okay, let me try and put it in layman's terms outside the context of being an enabler for addiction. You're being an enabler for somebody else's unhealthiness and immaturity. And it's the long way around trying to take care of your feelings, if that makes sense. So if I want to feel safe and I want to feel secure and I don't like conflict, then all my pretty little babies in my pot, all my pretty little babies in my life, I need to be sure they're okay. And I need to be sure they're okay so that nothing comes back and disturbs my world, right? Nothing comes back and disturbs my world and gets me upset, distressed, anxious, sad, disappointed, overwhelmed, frustrated, because I'm trying to be okay. That's the long way around trying to take care of your feelings. You have the ability to manage your response to anything. But as I have said many times, and I will continue to say, safety, your emotional safety, your physical safety, your spiritual safety, your financial safety, it is in your hands. It is not to be routed through other people for you to believe that you are okay. That's why the foundation starts with the Lord. That's where your safety comes from Him first, right? It comes from Him first. He's not going to lie to you. He's always faithful. He will never, let me say it like this, a man, and when I'm saying man, I'm meaning man species in general, so male or female, will never, never, I don't care how great you think your partner is, they will never be able to treat you like the Lord. They won't be able to do for you what the Lord can do. Okay? So you have to keep things in context. You have to keep things prioritized and in order. Okay? Safety doesn't come from other people. Codependent people attempt to do that. They attempt to get their safety, their okayness through other people. So let's go through some questions and you'll see what I mean. Um, so one of these statements, in this particular screen, is simply a true or false question. And to come up with a score for the screen, well, I know how to do that. That's not really important for you to know how to do that at this moment. But you add up scores based on the questions that you answer true and the questions that you answer false. And it gives you a rating at the end of this assessment that tells you if there's little need for concern as it relates to codependency, moderate to severe, or if there's a severe need for concern and intervention. Most people that I give this assessment to need some work, and I tend to provide resources for them to help them with this issue of codependency and having boundaries. Okay. So one question says, I make enough time to do things for myself every week. Yes or no? That's a true or false question. Now, that question might sound really simple, but for codependent people, the problem is that I have made time throughout the week for everybody else except for me. The other thing that's challenging when we talk about treating codependency is that there are secondary gains from being an enabler. What do I mean by that? I mean that having somebody come to you because they need your help, because they know they can depend on you, because they know you will help them. Also helps you feel valuable, needed, wanted, special. Okay. So that's a secondary gain to you being an enabler. Several problems though with that is that again, like I said earlier, you're teaching people how to treat you and you're teaching people not to be responsible for their own feelings. And you're teaching yourself that in order for you to feel special, important, wanted, needed, you have to continue to make these sacrifices to be involved in people's lives when you don't necessarily want to be, and definitely when you don't need to be. So it's a two-edged sword there. Okay, and I hope that makes what I'm saying is making sense. But again, that's why there's going to be a webinar, and that's why there's going to be a support group. Okay. Um, let's see. Here's another one. I take good enough care of myself. Some of these questions might sound a little vague. I take good enough care of myself. Do you? Do you take good enough care of yourself? Do you take time outs when you need to? Do you take time away from people? Do you take time to recharge? Do you take time to do things you really want to do? Do you take time to be present with your family? Do you take time to be present with yourself? Do you know how to tell people no? Okay. Here's another good question I like on this assessment, and it says, again, this is a true or false question. Sometimes I don't know how I really feel. Sometimes I don't know how I really feel. For a codependent individual, that happens. You know why you don't know why you don't sometimes know how you feel? Because you're so in tune with how other people are feeling and so in tune with wanting to fix other people because your okayness is through them. So you don't spend a lot of time getting to know you. You don't spend a lot of time knowing what you like, what you don't like. You spend a lot more energy focused on other people and what they need, what you anticipate they need for them to be okay. Because again, if they're okay, you're okay. Um, I am, oh, this is a good one. When I was growing up, my family liked to talk openly about problems. Now, a lot of people, you talk about therapy, especially people of minority, and they say, "Oh, you got to go back," and you start talking about childhood stuff, and you bringing up childhood stuff, and just dredging up all this old stuff that nobody wants to talk about. Okay, let me help you, people. Okay, when you have unmet needs in your childhood, guess what's gonna happen? You are going to try to get those needs met. Now, the healthy thing to do is to find you a therapist so you can recognize a therapist, a group, somebody, a good friend, so you can process what those unmet needs were so that you're not running around as an adult trying to fill a void that you don't even know is there and you don't know why it's there. But when you grow up in a household where your family didn't talk, they didn't talk about problems. They ignored problems. It's 10 elephants in the living room, and nobody's talking about not one of them. Everybody's moving around the elephants. Everybody is smelling the feces from the elephants, and ain't nobody saying, "What in the world is this odor up in this house?" Nobody's saying that. That is a problem. That can teach you several things. One, it teaches you not to use your voice. It teaches you to be quiet. It teaches you that your feelings and your thoughts are not important. That is a lie. Okay? It teaches you that perhaps when conflict arises, let me just avoid it versus deal with it. And that kind of stuff becomes your norm. Well, unfortunately, when you try to grow up and be an adult and have healthy relationships, but you never learned how to talk stuff out. You didn't learn that from your family. You didn't learn that from your friends. You don't know how to talk about nothing in a relationship. Excuse me. Excuse me. You don't know how to talk about problems when they come up. When you feel distressed and you feel that feeling in your body and those negative emotions come up in your body, guess what you're trying to do? You're trying to shut it down immediately. I want to shut it down. I want to avoid. I want to run because I never learned how to talk. Now, not about my problems. Now, I can see your problems and I could probably help you talk about your problems, but I never learned to talk about mine. That was not a skill that that is a skill. That is a skill to be able to be self-aware enough to know what's going on inside you and then be able to communicate that, process that first, and then communicate and express that when and where appropriate. In a relationship, expressing needs, empathy, actively listening, communication. You have to have those four things. So if you grew up early and those are skills that you did not learn, you did not hone those skills. Let's say you didn't even hone those skills and then you got to college. Maybe you were a star athlete in college, a star athlete in high school. Guess what happens? You don't have to talk. You still don't have to talk a lot about how you feel. You know why? Because people cater to you. You don't have to ask for a lot of stuff. Stuff is just given to you. It takes a mature individual to realize that they have to begin to communicate. So let's take all that and then you try and bring that into a relationship. You are going to have a situation. Let me find, we're almost out of time. Let me find another good question. Oh, here's a good one. I sometimes feel pretty confused about who I am and where I want to go with my life. Okay. Same premise. It's a true or false question. Same premise. Why is that? Because you haven't spent a lot of time with yourself. You're not in tune with yourself very much. Um, Here's another one. True or false? When someone hurts my feelings or does something I don't like, I have little difficulty telling them about it. True or false? Do you have difficulty speaking up for yourself? Do you have difficulty telling people when they hurt your feelings? Do you have difficulty telling people no? Do you often find that you are doing things for people and saying yes, but that's not really how you feel on the inside? You're saying yes and you're doing things, but you don't really want to do it. Here's another one. Being alone is a problem for me. True or false? Think about that question. Being alone is a problem for me. True or false? I can remember the first time that I learned, this was many, many years ago, 20 plus probably, where I learned to begin to enjoy spending time with me. This is when Blockbuster was big. That's how long ago it was. And I would go pick out movies. And the first time that I watched a movie and I heard myself laughing out loud, I stopped. I literally stopped in my tracks and I was like, what in the world is happening? I'm having fun and I'm having fun all by myself. You mean this is possible? I don't have to be doing something. Somebody doesn't have to be here. I can actually enjoy my time. I can actually learn how to enjoy me. Okay. That is exactly what I would like to encourage you guys to do. What one reason that I'm here. Um, that's what I want to encourage you to do. Enjoy your life, love yourself while you're doing it. I want to confirm the next Facebook time. Trying to find a time that really fits my audience. I don't really know where that is yet. So, again, I appreciate you all for joining me today in the corner. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me as well. You are welcome to join. I don't want you to think that Coach K Corner is about men bashing because it's not. It is really about learning how to have healthy relationships. Okay. So join me on Monday, March 15th at 7 o'clock. We're switching it up a little bit to see what works better. So hopefully I will see you, God willing, and the creek don't rise, as the old people say, Monday the 15th at 7 o'clock. And next week we are going to be talking about anxiety and ways to manage anxiety. And we're going to still be talking about relationships and how that fits in. So please continue to send me those questions. You guys have a great rest of the week. Stay blessed, stay safe, stay covered up, and I will talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye bye.